Matt, can you just kind of walk us through the last play, what you were trying to get there and how well they executed it?
Yeah, well, we ran the play 3 or 4 times there in the second half, and just trying to get a low catch on it so we could get a good dribble handoff and a ball screen, and then just the read off the ball screen. Whether you're hitting the guy diving, and we ran the same play, and Eric Hunter hit a pull up a couple minutes before, and we just kind of talked about like the read right there, and and take what they give you, and if he goes back with that big, look to turn the corner and attack, but if he stops you, get it out of your hands, and Sasha would be the guy coming in behind it. But we're really looking at the finish of it was going to go to Travion. So if Sasha didn't have it, we were going to Travion in the post, and then we were just going to try to freeze it and see if they would double late in the clock and leave one of our guys open. If not, Travion was going to score it. So
you didn't necessarily draw it up for Sasha. You drew it up for
we drew
Isaiah
it up
to make a play off the high
we
ball.
drew it up for just the decision. The decision right there. You have a lot of options off of it. I'm just trying to make a good decision. So.
For a guy that struggled shooting on the road like Sasha has,
Right.
What can this do for him now?
Well, I think it can really help his confidence. It's hard. He's had a handful of games at home, where he's almost been just a difference maker in his ability to shoot the ball. And then on the road, he's really struggled. So hopefully he can help his confidence and he can shoot better on the road.
Coach, you talk about Jaha Proctor coming in his first start in a month. Doesn't really do much during the game, and then he goes and does that at the end of the game. Just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, he played well at Rutgers, and he saved us at the end of the first half against Rutgers, made a couple threes, and had a good scoring game for us. And we've been searching for consistency across the board, like a lot of people, in our league on the road, and I thought he did a really good job and just kind of kept his poise and made a good decision.
Coach, what did you see out of Northwestern's young guys, especially Kopp and Bowie?
Well, Kopp had the threes there in the first half in transition, and I thought that was the difference. I thought we did some good things in the half court defensively against Northwestern. He hits those 2 threes, and we're down 4 at half, and I thought those were big shots. And you just can't let him get into a rhythm. And then Kopp makes a tough pull up on that baseline going away from us in the second half. That was a huge shot because I thought we played pretty good defense on the play. And then Bowie has that stretch at the beginning of the second half. He has 2 dribble up threes in transition. And then we overhelp on another one and give him a 3. But that, Booey's a talented player. He's one of those guys that scores in spurts, and obviously he's had some setbacks because of an injury. He was out for a while, and that's hard to get back in the flow of things. But I think he proved that with his 26 points against Michigan State. So we knew that he could score the basketball. But those 2 stretches right there by Kopp in the first half and Bowie in the second half, those were huge.
Why was it so important to go quick on offense? Your guards to push the ball up the floor pretty quickly. It seemed like that was one of the best things you did.
Well, I think Northwestern, they're obviously a good half-court defensive team, and just trying to get set and try to attack to get a good look or get to the rim. It's hard to execute every single time down the court and get quality shots, and and that's something for us that when we have to grind it out in the half court, especially on the road, we haven't had a great scoring outburst, and just trying to steal points. You're gonna have to steal points in some capacity against teams, and we thought just to push it made a lot of sense. But we were trying to do that in the first half too. We just didn't get into it, and they did a good job of setting their defense.
Coach, you kept Northwestern from scoring the last 4.5 minutes of the game. Was there anything schematically or you guys decided to do?
Not really. I think we were very fortunate. They got a couple corner threes there late when they beat us off the dribble, and we had to overhelp just to stop a layup or a pull up, and they missed those 2. I thought we played pretty good defense outside of a couple of those plays, but we just kept talking in the huddle make some other guys take those shots. Don't leave Miller Kopp. Don't leave Bowie, but if they're driving and they're getting layups and they're getting to the paint, stop the basketball. And, I thought we had pretty good defense on most of them, but we had a couple possessions where we were fortunate that they just missed some open shots, especially a couple of those corner shots right in front of their bench. I thought those were some pretty good looks.
Matt, what'd you see out of your club, other than winning the game those last 4 minutes that maybe you hadn't seen on the road this year?
Well, we've got into, we've had such a tough start to games. And so, in 4 road games, I think we were 50-9 in the first 4 to 5 minutes of each one of those games in total. And that was just, we're just starting the game in a hole. We didn't start in a hole today. And so, they get the game to 8 points there late. But, you know, we had to spend so much energy just climbing back into games. And then when you struggle to score, it just, you know, obviously getting down, it makes it difficult. But, you know, we tried to kind of go offense, defense too, and have the best defensive team we could out there. Problem is if you get a stop and it's not a dead ball, you know, they're on offense, and vice versa. You know, and so when you score the basketball and there's not a whistle, now that team's going to be on defense. So we're just trying to give them the best chance on defense, the best chance on offense, but just resilient. You know, I thought our guys were pretty resilient. We've had some fight before, but, you know, a lot of things look better when the ball goes in. And we made some shots in the last 4 or 5 minutes, and it always looks better.
Coach, you guys were out rebounded pretty heavily in the first half, and by the end of the game, that even out pretty.
Right.
Was that something that you guys talked about at halftime, or something
Yeah.
that you guys tried to focus on?
Yeah, you talk about it always, whether you're up on rebounds or down on rebounds. Such an important piece. You know, if you look at the stat sheet, we're down 1 rebounding, but then the turnovers, you know, we have 2 less. And so we have 1 more possession than they do. And so but you come down to the end, that 1 more possession was pretty important. So it's like the monitor thing, the thing like that could go either way. You know, we never get monitor calls. It seems like anytime they go to the monitor, it's, you know, we're like over for 20 in monitor calls. I hate that damn monitor. But today we got lucky. You know, we're just sitting there, you know, we're guessing. I can't see that from 80 feet. We're guessing, just, hey, go look at the monitor. Go look. Because everybody does it to us. And all of a sudden, you're like, you go back and watch the tape, and obviously it's accurate. They're going to look at the monitor and get the call. You should get it right after you look at the monitor. So we were fortunate. That was luck for us. So but
Similar to
one more
that.
possession ends up being the game. And so the possession war is so important. And so the rebounding piece is always going to be an important part of the game. Yes, sir.
Similar to that question about rebounding, at points you were being dominated rebounding.
Right.
And then you went essentially 1 big guy and 4 guards
Right.
at the 4-minute mark. What was your thinking there? Because if you miss,
Correct.
you're rebounding.
Yeah, well, it's not always bigger people getting rebounds. So sometimes you know, we've played big before and rebounded well, and we played big before with our 2 centers together and haven't rebounded well. You know, we played big against Illinois, they out-rebounded us by 18. Then we went with 1 big guy against Wisconsin, we out-rebounded them by 26. So sometimes it's being quicker to the ball, sometimes it's staying out of rotations. A lot of times if your 5 has to go and help a lot of times, now you got the biggest guy weak side with the guard who's got to drop down and box him out. And you're going to lose a lot of those battles. But if you have quicker guys and you can stay out of those rotations, now your 5 can stay home. And if he's your best rebounder like he is with Travion, Travion's a good rebounder, that really helps us. So sometimes it's not containing the dribble or getting behind plays that lead to you not being in good rebound balance, if that makes any sense.
Matt, when Cop makes the baseline to
Yeah.
make it 8, you call timeout. In that timeout, besides the X's and O stuff, do you mention to your guys the trouble that Northwestern's had over the year closing out games?
No, we talk about the troubles we've had executing late in the games. And, you know, you get lost sometimes at the end, like thinking like, I want to make a play instead of just doing your job. Just do your job, execute the play, whatever that is, then take things in rhythm, and that's what we just kept saying. Like, there's a lot of time, execute the next play. Just keep your focus on that play and get a stop. You know, get a score, get a stop, and if you can string a couple of those together, normally like a score, stop, score, you know, is late in the game is going to force a timeout. You're going to get that. So now you can huddle back, and then you can sub again too. But the one timeout helped us because it allowed us to sub defensively. And then our timeout allows them to sub. So it can hurt you, and it can also help you. But you just try to stay with it. You know, obviously we were very fortunate today. You know, we had to call it one our way.
That's one, right?
What gave you the faith in Thompson to put the ball in his hands to make that decision at the end? Or was that simply about his skill set? You needed the quickness, you needed the shooting threat.
It needed the shooting, needed the quickness. You know, I felt, you know, he kept us in the game in the first half. Kind of like Miller Kopp had a nice run for them. You know, he had a nice run for us. So he's played well. He's done some things. He's got to learn from a defensive standpoint, you know, how to use his quickness and offset some things, especially if he's boxing out bigger people.
Go one more right here. Sorry.
Coach, you talked about it a bit with Northwestern shooting, but when
You're
Bowie-
very inquisitive, man. Go ahead.
Well, when Bowie drained 3 3-pointers in a row like that,
Yeah.
and then earlier you had them drain 2 on 2 consecutive possessions, what do you say to your team when you get back to the bench after something like that?
Quit letting him shoot. You know, he just dribbles down the one time and just shoots it. It's like, you know, if no one's behind you and that's your man, you know, guard him. And so, like, we have it happen one time, then it ends up happening again, and the guy just keeps backing up. There's certain guys it doesn't matter, but if you got guys that have the ability to shoot dribble up threes, So you got to be able to guard. And Miller Kopp, like one was transition. Our guy just made a poor decision to go away from him right in front of our bench. Then the other one was transition for him. Then our guy's holding at the rim, and then right as you hold at the rim, you got to fly at him. And even if like you don't have a closeout and you fly at him and you get him off the line, at least you make him dribble, at least you make him pause. And we just didn't do those, those things. And so you can't allow good shooters to get in rhythm. So just messing with them.